This is a special presentation of New York Mets baseball on the WB11.
On the WB11, the New York Mets are on the air, and this afternoon on a warm summer-like Sunday at Shea, the Mets go for a 3-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies. The Mets can do that with Tom Glavine on the mound against fellow lefty Sean Estes. It is Military Appreciation Day here at Shea Stadium, and a wonderful afternoon to celebrate our men and women in the armed services. Very nice of you to join us, Dave O'Brien, along with Hall of Famer Tom Seaver. And Tom, not just the opportunity for the sweep today, but also a chance for the Mets to get at 500. Remember, this is a team that lost 95 games last year. It may seem like a terribly small step for this team. It's a coveted goal, and a lot of dramatic wins lately to get close.
Well, that's exactly right. They have been at 500 since about the 10th game of the season, and they made some terrific comebacks in the last 10 days or so. They started off against Octavio Dotel in relief of Roger Clemens. Mike Piazza, very dramatic 2-strike home run with 2 outs in the 9th inning. And then Cliff Floyd, he followed suit against another outstanding reliever, Jason Isringhausen, and that beat the St. Louis Cardinals. And then very dramatically again last night, they are down by a run in the 8th. 2 balls, no strikes. Ty Wiglin's turn to win a 1-run ball game for the Mets. So another big comeback for them last night here at Shea Stadium.
As the Mets creep ever closer to that 500 record, now 21-22, 3.5 games behind the Marlins. A lot of extra inning wins, 3 of them in those last 19 games. The Mets are a perfect 4-0 in extra inning games with a very tough stretch coming up. Now, the bullpen has been very effective. Certainly last night, terrific. 4 2/3 scoreless innings after Tyler Yates left the ball game. But, Tom, it's also been a very busy bullpen, overworked, adding even more value to a long outing from Tommy Glavine today.
Well, 2 things that are important here is that Tommy Glavine has been the leader on this pitching staff for the entire year so far. Can get them late, and they need some rest for that bullpen. They've got an off day tomorrow, but Tommy Glavine going against these Rockies. Last time out was Matt Morris. The time before that, Randy Johnson, and he pitched superbly against Randy Johnson. So he is getting, hopefully bringing another good outing here that he can give this bullpen a rest and maybe get these Mets to 500. He has been facing extremely well all year.
Yeah, and facing aces, as you point out, against Randy Johnson and then Matt Morris. Today it's going to be Sean Estes. He's really the #1 guy for Colorado. He has 6 wins. Tommy Glavine, a 9-4 career mark in 24 starts against Colorado. Pitches very well against them. Pitching in the sunshine today on Military Appreciation Day here at Shea Stadium. And we'll be back with the starting lineups as the Mets go for the sweep over Colorado in a moment.
And steamy, that would be the best way to describe the scene here today at Shea Stadium. You know, it's only the month of May, and a lot of people would say that records do not mean a whole lot at this time of the baseball season, but for the Mets, it's a sign that things are moving in the right direction. Because of the win today over the Colorado Rockies, they would move to 500 on the season, and then they can get set to play the next 12 games against National League East rivals, the Florida Marlins and Philadelphia Phillies. Earlier today, I had a chance to speak with manager Art Howe about the state of his ball club.
It seems like everybody's chipping in and doing something, either in the pitching end or offensively, getting a timely hit here and there. And, you know, it's just these games test your mettle, and it also makes you, a seasoned veteran, even for these young kids, be able to hang in there tough on these close ball games.
How concerned are you right now with the starting rotation?
Well, there's a concern mainly because of the lack of innings that we're getting from them and the residue that we're going to have from the bullpen in the second half of the season. And we're going to them quite often, obviously, right now, and they're doing a great job. You just hope that they can remain doing that throughout the season. But when you get too many innings out of the bullpen, it usually takes its toll.
Does that put a little pressure on you as well, sometimes having to leave a starter in a little bit longer when the bullpen's gotten too much work?
Well, eventually you have to do that. I mean, and the fans don't understand that sometimes. They come to watch your team win each day, and but sometimes you're going to have to take one on the chin and just weather the storm to be able to win tomorrow. But at the same time, though, if you're in a game, you have to try to do everything you can to win it.
and the Mets will call on the crafty veteran Tom Glavine to get the job done today. We'll see how he does when we come back with today's first pitch.
Mets baseball is being brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lexus dealers, who invite you to test drive a Lexus today. By Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, cold, down, easy. By your Tri-State Quality Ford store with the best-selling vehicles in America. By Chase, introducing free checking with direct deposit and all the power of Chase. By Jeep, trail-rated capability only in a Jeep 4x4. By Verizon, make progress every day. And by the BMW 3 Series with all-wheel drive, the driver's all-wheel drive. Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien with you. Sunny, hot day here at Shea Stadium, Military Appreciation Day. Great to have you along as the Mets go for a 3-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies. Today, Tom Glavine against left-hander Shawn Estes. A pretty good pitcher's duel. We had a terrific pregame show today, really wowing the crowd here at Shea Stadium. Talk about landing on the money and perfect conditions to do that. Not terribly windy, nothing but sunshine and blue sky as the Air Force took over the show. And a long standing ovation here prior to this afternoon's first pitch for the men and women in uniform.
The catcher is Jason Phillips, and on the mound for the Mets.
Look at the starting lineup now, brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store. And for Colorado, it's Denny Hawking at second. Royce Clayton at short. Vinny Castilla hit 12 home runs. He's at third. Charles Johnson, the cleanup man. No Todd Helton. The bad back has kept him out of the series, except as a pinch hitter. Burnitz has hit 13 home runs. Had a big night last night. Matt Holliday in left. Kit Pellow at first base with Rene Reyes in center. And Estes, the pitcher, is the number 9 hitter, all up against the lefty Tom Glavine. He is 5-2 coming in, Tom Seaver, with a 2.45 ERA.
And a very nifty 2.45 at that, no question about it, making his 10th start here, David. 58 innings pitched, 47 hits, and just 13 walks in those 58 innings pitched, 30 strikeouts. He's given up 4 home runs, and National League hitting .213 against him as he marches toward, I would say, certainly ultimately Cooperstown.
256 career victories coming into today.
Behind Tommy Glavine, let's take a look at the defense brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers for the Mets today. Defensively in the outfield, Cliff Floyd, Joe Mack to start in center field, Joe McEwing, and Shane Spencer to the start in right field. Going from third to first, Ty Wigginton at third, Kaz Matsui the shortstop. Danny Garcia plays second, and Mike Piazza half a day off. Let's put it that way. Playing first base, Jason Phillips is going to do the catching.
Mets coming in 3.5 games behind the front-running Florida Marlins, who have a half-game lead over Philadelphia in the National League East. And this Colorado team in 4th place in the West. They're 6.5 behind the Dodgers at the start of the day. Ready for baseball, and the first pitch from Glavine is in there for a called strike. He has a veteran umpire back there, Larry Vanover. And Larry, the crew chief. Denny Hawking, the first man to face him, as you get a look at the rest of the judiciary on a sultry day. And another one right on the outside corner. Quickly, Glavine in front, 0-2. Tommy with the number 6 ERA in the National League. And he is tied for 5th in victories. Hawking took a long stride out of the batter's box.
But I don't think he believes they were strikes, and he's saying to himself, if those are strikes, and I got a veteran umpire, as you say, veteran pitcher, how am I going to hit anything? I can't get to him. All we can do that is move up on the plate.
You know, they talk about Questek forcing the umpires to have a certain strike zone, but if you're Larry Vanover and you've been calling that a strike for Tom Glavine for 10 or 15 years. Weekly hit, a worm killer to Garcia. Up and over, plenty of time for the first down. Glavine gets the leadoff man. He'll face Royce Clayton next. Hawking not too thrilled with the strike zone. We'll see if his attitude changes anything in Larry Vanover. I would think not.
Well, when you have a young player that might disagree with some of the things that you're doing against a veteran like Glavine with all the wins that he has racked up, which way do you think the wind's going to blow? It's going to go right toward Tommy Glavine.
Royce Clayton, a hitter. He's batting .317, 4 homers, 14 RBIs. He has never had a lot of success against the veteran lefty. He's seen Glavine 34 times in his career. He has only 4 hits off him. Flies that one to center. McEwing patrolling the alley, puts it away. Mike Cameron getting a rest today, so Joe Mack, the man of many gloves, gets the start in center. 2 fast outs here in the first. So May Clayton 4 out of 35 against Glavine. And that'll send up Vinny Castilla. Now he is one of the few Rockies in this lineup who hits Glavine pretty well. .321 lifetime. That includes a home run. And be followed by Charles Johnson. The first one to Castilla is in there for a strike. Dodgers and the Braves underway. One of Vinny's former clubs, of course, the Atlanta Braves. Did nothing in the first inning. On the inside edge for a called strike. A long look back at the umpire by Vinny Castilla.
Well, Tommy Glavine getting strikes on both sides of the plate. Castilla doesn't believe that. See if it catches that inside corner. And with that impeccable control that Glavine has, looked like it just nicked it.
Outside with a change of pace. 2 down, bases empty.
A lot of people talk about stuff. What kind of stuff does he have? You see Charles Johnson in the on-deck circle. What kind of stuff does Glavine have? Does he overpower you? No. But he can pitch.
And he can strike out Vinny Castilla for a 1-2-3 start. He gets Colorado in order. Glavine looking very sharp after 1 frame at Shea. The Rockies did not get a base runner in the top of the first. The Mets coming up in the bottom of number 1. Now the starting lineup brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store. Art Howe will bring out Kaz Matsui to lead off. Danny Garcia at second. Cliff Floyd at left. Piazza at first base today. Mike 2 for 4 last night. Shane Spencer in right. Jason Phillips doing the catching. Ty Wigginton, the hero of the 5-4 win last night with the 8th inning home run. Joe McEwing is in center. Glavine the pitcher, number 9 hitter against Sean Estes. He is 6-2, trying to win his 7th game this season and join Roger Clemens as the National League's only other 7-game winner.
A high earned run average, 6.31. 51 innings pitched, 52 hits. As you look at the numbers so far in the season with the veteran left-hander, Tommy Glavine. Did he get strikes? And is that a strike rung up by Hanover, the umpire? And again, is that a strike? That's on the first hitter of the ball game. And Vinny Castilla, the 3rd hitter, he had his doubts as well. Tommy Glavine has proven that he can do it over a long period of time, and he'll get strikes.
If that's a strike, he can throw it there all day.
All day. You give it to me, I'll throw it in the same spot every time.
They are Glavine strikes in the eyes of Larry Vanover. Kaz Matsui led off last night's game with a home run for the Mets. That was his 4th this season, 4th leadoff homer, tying Tommy Agee's single-season club record in 1969. Season that ended rather well. That is just outside, and now the question becomes for Sean Estes, does he get the same strike zone that Glavine got?
The ball off the outside part of the plate. It was a ball, but your point well taken, David. If you're going to call it one side, call it the other. And that looked like a pitch to Tommy Glavine, a duplicate of what he threw.
3-1 on Matsui. Kaz was walked 20 times. Glavine looking for a little run support. Want to see Matsui push up that on-base percentage as a leadoff man as he swings and tags one deep to left. Did he do it again? He did. She's gone. For the 5th time this season, he leads off a game with a home run. Sean Estes giving it up. Matsui jumping on the pitch on 3-1 and rocketing that one out of the ballpark to give New York a 1-0 lead. So that's a new team record for Kaz Matsui.
He did it last night. He had a 3-2 count leading off the ball game and got a fastball, hit it over the fence in right field into the Met bullpen. And here ahead in the count, 3-1, got a fastball and hits it into the seats there in left field over that 371 sign.
Danny Garcia now What was fascinating as you look at the home run swing by Matsui on the right side of the plate and gone right after the home run was hit. Estes huddled with the home plate ump Larry Vanover near the pitcher's mound. Quite obviously they were talking about that non-strike that he thought he should have gotten. Wound up getting behind in the count. Matsui took him out. So a new club record for Kaz Matsui for leadoff home runs in a single season for the New York Mets. That went down and in on Garcia. Danny last night 0 for 3. So you can see Matsui rounding the bases.
Matsui in celebration, and the umpire Hanover and Sean Estes in conference. And he's making his point. Let's call him both ways. What was wrong with that pitch? There were a couple things I would presume that he talked about, and that's the curveball that Sean Estes is so well known for, that left-handed curveball that comes up there and really dives down. That has been his bread and butter through the years. When he can get that over, and he's effective when he can get it over, when he's behind the count especially, and that is his strikeout pitch.
The 1-2 pitch to Garcia. Fly to shallow right. Racing in Burnitz. Out goes Hawking. Burnitz will make the catch. One down in front of Cliff Floyd. 1-0. The Mets in front.
Take a look at the defense here for the Mets, brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers for these Colorado Rockies. Matt Holliday, Rene Reyes, and Jeremy Burnitz, who just made that play and right in the outfield. Vinny Castillo, Royce Clayton on the left side, Denny Hawking and Kit Pellow on the right side, and Charles Johnson again doing the catching for Colorado.
Here's Cliff Floyd at 293. 3 homers, 11 runs batted in. Going after the very first pitch and coming up empty on a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Cliff destroyed Colorado last year. Hit .519 against them in 27 at-bats. By the way, we're also being told that Kaz Matsui tied the National League rookie record for leadoff home runs in a season. Chili Davis in 1982. And a lot more smiles from the Mets leadoff hitter as of late. There's a deep drive, right center. He jumped all over it. This one's sailing. She is gone. And then some. What a blast by Cliff Floyd. The second home run in the inning for the Mets to lead it 2-0. Mercy. You could tell by that first one he swung at, even though he missed the pitch, he had his home run swing locked and loaded today. Number 4 for Cliff Floyd. Mets in front 2-0 in their bid to sweep Colorado. Big grin from Clifford Floyd, and here comes Mike Piazza. May not be over yet. There's a drive hooking out to left field. The ballpark will hold it. It'll bounce up against the fence, and Piazza will jog into second with a double. So the Mets are teeing off against one of their old pitchers, Sean Estes, a New York Met for most of the 2002 season. The Floyd home run is certainly worth another look.
Well, he went after the first pitch fastball and missed it, and then got that one right there, right down in his wheelhouse. And both home runs in this inning. Matsui and that one, no doubters. How far did that go? Yes, off the scoreboard, the bottom of the scoreboard out there. At signage just below the bottom of the scoreboard. And 2-0 New York, and a double, man on second base.
Cliff Floyd does not like to be known as a home run hitter. Unlike Mike Piazza, he's a guy who says, I just hit doubles. I'm a line drive guy, but when he hits his home runs, they tend to be high, majestic blasts like that one. Here's Shane Spencer, the .320 average. Piazza at second. Hot shot grounder scooped up by Castilla. And the throw gets him. Piazza holding at second. 2 down. We talked about Roger Clemens being the only National Leaguer right now with 7 wins. Estes trying to match him today. But Clemens was roughed up for 6 earned runs and 10 hits last night. But he escaped with a no decision in Houston's loss to Cincinnati. So I mean, the Rocket is certainly living right. He's got that deal where he can not even show up for parts of road trips if he's not scheduled to pitch. He can stay at home and play with the kids, watch his son pitch in high school, which he was doing for the first part of the season. Breaking ball in there for a strike on Jason Phillips. And even when he pitches badly, that's what maybe the only time this year he's had a bad outing, he still doesn't lose. Remaining undefeated, Piazza at second. 1 ball and 1 strike on Phillips. Mike Piazza, by the way, with that double. Now 5 out of 8 in this series. The Mets playing long ball with Sean Estes, and the 1-1 pitch missed away. The left-hander has actually pitched very well. He is 6-2, but a high ERA, as Tom mentioned, 6.31 coming into the game. But the last couple of starts, 2-0, ERA of 3.38, 13 strikeouts in 13 1/3 innings. So the Mets were getting him when he was pitching his best baseball of the year. Certainly doesn't look like it here in the first inning.
Now, the Mets have been pounding first inning runs. They got 2 on Friday, 3 last night, and 2 already here today. On a beautiful day at Shea Stadium, by the way. So 7 first-run innings in this series against Colorado. Estes started off the season very well. He won 4 of his first 5 decisions, and then he had 2 back-to-back games. Boy, he did not pitch it well at all. He gave up 8 earned runs against Florida, and then he gave up 9 earned runs against Chicago. Not back-to-back, excuse me. Atlanta was in the middle of that. And he has pitched very well the last 2 times out. He gave up 3 earned runs against Cincinnati in 7 innings, and then just a couple of earned runs against Pittsburgh, and got into the 7th inning of that ball game.
3-2 pitch jammed inside, and Phillips fought it off. 2 down. Piazza at second. Here's a look at his 9 starts so far, and he was the opening day starter, in fact, for this team. He made the Colorado roster as a non-roster invitee in spring training, and winds up pitching opening day.
And had that one ugly game in there where he gave up 9 earned runs to the Cubs in Chicago.
Phillips wagging the bat, and the pitch is fouled away.
But it's almost like Bob Apodaca figured it out. I mean, a couple of bad starts, and then the last 2 starts have been very good. He won his last 2 decisions against Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Former pitching coach for Bobby Valentine, Bob Apodaca. You've been watching those young pitchers the last couple of nights. He says his stomach is a little bit jumpy, but you got to have the patience of a saint when you've got a young pitching staff. John Essence is the veteran on this pitching staff. There's no doubt about that.
The payoff pitch. High fly right field. Pretty well hit. Burnett's back to the track. Now pulling up to make the catch. Side retired. But the Mets put some swings on the baseball against Sean Estes. It started with Kaz Matsui. His 5th leadoff home run of the season. And Cliff Floyd, a towering drive. His 4th of the year. And the Mets lead it 2-0 after an inning. Your local Jeep dealers bring our Spanish viewers the chance to enjoy this afternoon's telecast in Espanol. As Tom Glavine goes back at it, and he has been presented a 2-0 lead on solo home runs by Kaz Matsui and Cliff Floyd. Floyd's, by the way, traveled 420 feet. Here's a guy hit one last night, a deep drive to left field. Charles Johnson, his 9th of the season. He waves mightily and misses for strike 1. CJ, another of the Rockies in the lineup, who has fits when he faces Glavine. 4 out of 28, a 143 clip. If you take Royce Clayton, Jeremy Burnitz, and Charles Johnson, add up everything they've ever done against Glavine, it's not much. A combined 13 for 87, a 149 average for that triumvirate. It's in there for a knee-high strike.
You can tell by the reaction of the hitters that they don't want it to be a strike. They don't want to get to 2 strikes because Tommy Glavine will pitch on both sides of the plate. That certainly was on the plate. Was it below the knees? I think that was Charles Johnson's gripe. Glavine will pitch both sides, and will pitch with different speeds and can throw strikes with different speeds on both sides of the plate. Hitters would tell you, I can't protect it all.
Up the middle, but that's right where Garcia was planted. 4 up and 4 down. Glavine. And a pretty quick pace here, the first 4 hitters. That'll bring up Jeremy Burnett's. And look at our Newsday quote book. Burnett's talking about his stay in New York, second time around in 2002 and 2003. Said, when I left New York, they were cheering me. I had a lot of good things said about me. I appreciated that because I didn't think I was very good there. My time there did more for me than I will probably ever know. That last line is very interesting. You're talking about a West Coast guy, and everyone felt that's where he was headed anyway. Winds up in Colorado after a brief stay with the Dodgers last year that lasted 61 games. Jeremy Burnett's, before the trade to the Dodgers last summer, did hit 18 home runs and drove in 45 and was hitting in the 270s. He grounds out. Glavine makes it 5 for 5 at the start of his day.
Again, look at the last pitch. And where is it? Does it have movement on it? The ball's right there and very hittable. Jeremy Burnett looked like he's right down the barrel, right on the ball, and says, how did I miss it? A little bit of movement right at the end. See him shaking his head. How did I miss that? A lot of times hitters will look for too much. Tommy Glavine, in the old vernacular of baseball, can't break a pane of glass. But you know what? He's close to 100 games over 500 as a pitcher. Keyword, pitcher. And there's a guy, stuff-wise, has much more stuff than Tommy Glavine.
Tyler Yates.
But you look in the dictionary and you say, come into the word picture, and pitcher, and Tommy Glavine's picture will be in there.
Tyler Yates may be headed to the bullpen. A career look at Glavine, 256 wins. A couple of Cy Young awards as well. Missed the outside corner, although it looked like that pitch was a strike in the first inning. And you wonder if some of the stares and the complaints under the breath are going to get to Larry Vanover today. I think not with a veteran umpire out there, and that is right in there for strike to make it 2-2.
He's going to say, quit your whining and swing the bat, boys. It's Sunday afternoon, and that is borderline bottom of the strike zone. The pitch that Charles Johnson swung at, that pitch is about 4 inches off the plate outside. And that's the message the umpire is sending to these hitters. Swing the bats.
A little bit low, although it's certainly been a low zone. It's been an old style National League strike zone so far.
Also been 3.5-hour ball games the last couple of days too. You get a veteran umpire Sunday afternoon out there, swing the bats. And that's part of it. That will happen. Another pitch out of the strike zone.
And McEwing backs up for the catch. 1, 2, 3, they go again for the second straight inning. Tom Glavine has a 2-0 lead through an inning and a half on a Sunday at Shea.
As the Mets enjoy a 2-0 lead here at the start of this ball game, we'll take a second to remind you that the 2004 season marks the 7th year of the J.P. Morgan Chase Baseball is for Kids program. Over 800,000 youngsters have experienced Met baseball thanks to J.P. Morgan Chase's belief in giving back to the community. No dream is too big if you have the right relationship. Our good friends at J.P. Morgan Chase. Great shot out there. That's shot beyond the scoreboard in right field.
Estes working to Ty Wigginton. The star of last night's come from behind Met win with his 8th inning home run, 2 out. The Mets down a run, and Wigginton knew it immediately as he flipped the bat, raised a fist in the air, and the Mets had a 5-4 lead, which they would hang on to. Braden Looper with the save. A very sweet victory for the Mets to pull to within 1 of 500. And a sweep today of Colorado puts the Mets at 500 at 22-22. Wigginton overall at 223 for an average, 4 homers, 17 RBIs.
You know, if you're tied Wigginton, you go up there, you get a man on, you're down by a run, and you get behind, you get ahead. I should say the pitcher gets behind, 2 balls and no strikes. What do you look for? Fastball, middle in.
He said he was sitting on it the entire at bat. He swings at a high fastball out of the strike zone, and he whiffs for out number 1.
And fastball up above the top of the strike zone. Now it looks to me like Sean Estes is throwing a little bit harder than I remember him throwing in the last couple of years. Maybe Bob Apodaca has been working with him, but they popped that fastball pretty good right there. And if he can get that ball by right-handed hitters and get that curveball over, he can be awfully tough. He did not have that fastball. It did not seem like in the first inning. There's changeup right there.
He certainly didn't show it last year for the Chicago Cubs, because he could not hold on to the number 5 spot in the rotation, even though Dusty Baker showed remarkable restraint with him because Estes was so up and down. Eventually he was dropped from the rotation in September. He's been very inconsistent with his command. And his career the last couple of years has really been on its last legs. Sometimes that's where pitchers wind up. They wind up in Colorado. Fly to left field by McEwing, right at Holiday for the second out.
You know, he comes in here, Sean Estes does, and he's, his earned run average is high. It's over 6. You say, well, pitching for the Rockies, he must be having a bad year. But he has had games where he's given up 7 earned runs, 8 and 9. The rest of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games have been far more than acceptable. And I think the one thing that he would like to have more than anything else now is what his manager Clint Hurdle is some sense of consistency. But he has had 3 games where it looks like absolutely the wheels have fallen off the wagon.
Well, obviously when he's on, he can still perform very well. And if he gets that curveball fooling hitters, which has been his trademark over the years, if he gets knees buckling on it, he can be quite effective. And pitch in there for a strike on Glavine.
You know, the fastball is different here too. The first 2 fastballs to Tom Glavine out of the strikes, and it just looks like it was almost like a spring training delivery to home plate.
Wrapped down the line, but slicing foul just off the chalk line by Glavine, who's hitting .250 coming in.
But the ball he threw by Ty Wigginton, he really popped that ball. I mean, he threw that fastball up at the top of the strike zone and put some pizzazz on it. That ball had some mustard on it. But a majority of his fastballs have just been looking like darts. Tom Glavine either turned down that dial or Sean Estes turned it up a little bit. Didn't quite get to that one. Wigginton, as we said, high fastball up above the top of the strike zone, popped it real well, and Wigginton a strikeout victim.
2 down, bases clean here, and a 2-2 to the pitcher. Glavine puts it in play, but Hocking is there for the stop, and the side is retired. So the Mets, after hitting 2 home runs plus the Piazza double in the first inning, go quietly here in the second. Ty Wigginton, the star last night, striking out. 2-0 the Mets. New York Mets baseball is being brought to you by your Acura dealers. A new level of performance. By AM New York, New York's free daily newspaper. And by the new Chevrolets, 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution. Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien from Shea. Nice crowd on hand for Military Appreciation Day. It's a hot one. Last night 70 degrees when we started, but by the 3rd inning with the fog rolling in and the breeze rolling in, it got to about 50 degrees in a heartbeat.
You thought you were in Candlestick, didn't you?
You put on your little cardigan sweater there. It was just adorable, but you needed it last night. And fashion be damned, Tom. Kit Pellow hitting .256, a homer, 8 runs batted in.
And you wanted to borrow it too.
I did.
You got a little chilly over there, didn't you?
A little bit cool. I did not prepare well. I'll admit that for last night's telecast. Basking in the sunshine today, though. Temperatures in the high 80s. That one outside on Pellow. Bottom 3rd of the order for Glavine, who has zipped through the first 6 hitters. And he's made it look pretty easy. Oh. 2 balls and 1 strike on Pellow. He's batting .250. Atlanta with a 1-0 lead over the Dodgers. They're in the second inning. Cincinnati and Houston underway. The Reds got 2 quick scores against the Astros. High fly along the right field line, twisting for the corner. Spencer on the run, and it's going to be a foul ball. At home run distance, down into the corner.
I thought that ball was a pop fly to right field. There's no way it was going to reach the warning track, and thought it would curve into the seats. That ball went over the wall at that 338 sign. Look at this. So that ball come off that bat. As a hitter, as a pitcher, you recognize where that ball is going to go because of the angle it comes off the bat, and that looked like a pop fly to right. This young man have power? I think he just answered that question, didn't he?
That's the kind of ball you see get out of the ballpark at Coors Field and land about 14 rows into the stands. clearing their scoreboard in right field.
That's an opposite field. He hit that ball 345 feet, hit the ball straight up in the air.
Rene Reyes, the center fielder, up next. Colorado without Helton in the lineup. Walker is hurt. Preston Wilson is hurt. Swing and a miss. A high fastball way out of the zone, but Glavine blows away Pellow for his second strikeout.
Well, Tommy Glavine going upstairs and adding some pop to the ball. That's the hardest pitch that he has thrown. And it's the first time today he's gone upstairs, and total surprise against the hitter Pellow. Who says I can't strike somebody out with a fastball upstairs? Well, each pitch is relative to the last one. And Tommy Glavine put some extra juice on that 2-strike pitch to Pellow.
That sends up Reyes, a 139 average, a switch hitter from Venezuela. He's 26 years old. He's hit like crazy in Colorado's farm system. Batted .350 at Asheville, .343 at Colorado Springs. He suffered a fractured right knee that cost him all of 2000. If he gets on, he might run. He stole 53 bases the year after he returned from the knee injury at Double-A. Late on that swing. 2 balls and 1 strike on Reyes. The pitcher Estes up next. The Rockies looking for their first base runner against Glavine. Bounding ball to Matsui. 2 down. We talked about the importance of getting to 500 right now for the Mets, because here's a look at the upcoming schedule. It's brought to you by your Honda dealers. The Phillies here after the off day Monday for games Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the Mets will travel to South Florida to take on the Florida Marlins and their terrific pitching staff. And then more games of the Phillies coming up after that, followed by another series against the Marlins, and then the Minnesota Twins in an interleague series.
And that is nothing to sneeze about either.
You're talking about nothing but first or second place teams coming up.
Well, we get into that, into that part of that schedule where you're playing in your own division. So you're playing back to back to back to back. You've got Phillies, Marlins, Phillies, Marlins. That's a nice stretch of games where you better be at have your A game when you get out there on that field, because those are 2 pretty good ball clubs.
And with Al Leiter disabled with the tendonitis. Outside by Glavine, account 1-2 on Estes. Denny Hawking would hit next. Art Howe talking about this before the game, about the need to get innings out of the starters because too much pressure is being applied to the bullpen. That's on the inside corner for strike 3. Another fine inning for Glavine. He gets Pellow, Reyes, and Estes in order. 2 strikeouts in that frame. 2-0 the Mets. Mets with a 2-0 lead over the Colorado Rockies as we go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. And tomorrow at 9, don't miss a fresh episode of the WB's Guilty Pleasure Superstar USA. It's the twisted reality show that has New Yorkers talking. See for yourself what the buzz is all about. Superstar USA tomorrow at 9 right here on the WB11. I thought the Jerry Springer show was the twisted reality show that has New Yorkers talking. Guess not. Well, last night, Kaz Matsui, left-handed, drills a home run to start the ball game. And on a Sunday afternoon, very next day, here he is leading it off for the Mets from the right side of the plate.
I can do it at night. I can do it the daytime. You get me ahead in the count, I've got a chance. 2 fastballs, 2 home runs. Back-to-back leadoff home runs. We've got that staff down there. Should we give him one?
Fire away.
Has there ever been a hitter that has had back-to-back leadoff home runs in the big leagues?
On successive days.
Back-to-back days.
How many times has Ricky Henderson done it? I know he had to have done it. I bet he's done it 10 times. But it's a good question. We'll get right on it.
Did they give you the answer already?
No, I don't have the answer. but wait a minute. Now, Ricky Henderson.
You want that? How much was the bet you said? $10 I owe you?
No, we can't talk about money on a baseball show. We can't be betting.
I didn't. $10. We could be deer hunting or something. Okay.
And then I think it was 30. Here's a drive to center. Reyes going back. It's over his head. On a bounce to the wall. Matsui into second, pulls up with a double. He's hit a couple of rocket shots here in his afternoon. 2 for 2, a homer and a double off Estes.
Well, just maybe, Kaz Matsui getting comfortable in that uniform. That's straightaway center field, and that's a long poke out there to center. Matsui now a total closing in on 175 to 180 at-bats in the big leagues in the United States, and maybe just getting comfortable.
Getting comfortable with those gaps, and in this case, the center field shot. 16 doubles, not too bad. As we approach late May, and here's Danny Garcia, 0 for 1 with a fly to right field. Now, talking about records, leading off a game with a home run, the record for a rookie in a season is held by Nomar Garciaparra as far as the all-time record, American or National League. Garciaparra leading off for Boston in 1997, did it 7 times.
Wow.
Kaz has done it 5 times so far for the Mets.
So it looks like he will break that record. Because officially he's a rookie. He's not really a rookie, but he officially is a rookie. Commissioner should do something about that. But
I think you and I both agree.
Yes.
Talking about a guy who's been playing professional baseball and for big money for 8 or 9 years. Bunted and a beauty. He dents it on the grass. CJ's throw is in time. It was a terrific bunt. It was an even better play by Charles Johnson. Down to third, though, on a sacrifice, Kaz Matsui.
A little bit of miscommunication between Charles Johnson and Sean Estes. Good bunt by Danny Garcia. A little man is showing that he can play a lot of parts of this baseball game very well. Johnson calls Estes off, and a real strong arm on that catcher. And that's the only way that you get Danny Garcia hustling down that line. Well, he's got a cannon still, doesn't he?
Well, he won 4 Gold Gloves early in his career. He hasn't won one in quite a while, since 1998. The infield is in. And that one over the helmet of Cliff Floyd. He takes a seat. Last night we had 3 hit batsmen in the ball game. And last night's home plate umpire, Matt Hollowell, warned both benches, the managers, and the pitchers.
Well, this is some sort of curveball changeup. It's not even a fastball. And Cliff Floyd, he didn't even want to go down. He's just going to get out of the way, but that was a curveball.
Floyd with a towering home run in the first inning. Number 4 for Cliff. Infield tugged in for Colorado. 1 down. Matsui at third base. Trickler, tough play. Here comes Matsui. Backhanded. Estes tags out Floyd, and the run is in. So Cliff Floyd, after that monster shot in the first inning, barely makes contact here. In both cases, same result, an RBI.
Well, it's not how far you hit it, it's kind of where you hit it. And the only play for Sean Estes, good athlete to get over there and get the out. And good base running on third base by Kaz Matsui. He read that extremely well by the time Estes had made the tag on Floyd, got the out, but an RBI. As Matsui crossed, you know what he's laughing at? Exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I got that one just right on the button. That was yesterday. Tyler Yates, and he got Jeremy Burnitz right in the helmet.
And he got Vinny Castilla right in the ribs. And now the trainer's coming out for Colorado, and this is an injury visit for Sean Estes. We've been seeing Estes early in this game after throwing a pitch or getting it out, doing a lot of stretching behind the mound, as if he was having trouble either with the hammies or maybe a groin. And I'm pretty sure that's what this is about. He's walking out behind the hill here. Might have a lot of trouble getting loose, which is odd given the conditions. It's a great day to get loose.
Your point, it may have been very well taken too, David. It was something maybe before he started the game, and it must be legs. It's got to be legs. And he had to bust off that mound on the ball that Cliff Floyd hit. He had to really get over there. He wanted to get over to try to prevent the run from scoring. So it probably is groin, hamstring, calf. That's guess. Let's take a look at him coming off the mound. And he had to chase that ball down right there. Did he? One of those things we won't know, but he's going to stay in the ball game. Clint Hurdle gives his pitcher a pat. But he's got something bark. He has got something barking somewhere. This is the pitch almost hit Cliff Floyd. See that little flick in that right leg when he landed? Kind of knee-jerk reaction. And then a curveball that missed by a mile.
Well, let's see how he handles Mike Piazza. Mike with a double in the first inning to run his hitting streak to 10 in a row, hitting .425 over that streak. So Mike Piazza is in one of those locked-in zones. Not too many guys get as hot and stay as hot as Mike when he gets into one of these streaks, lifting the average to 311. High fly right field, but not terribly deep. Burnitz has to come in. Long run, and near the line he makes the catch. Got a long way to come, and that's the end of the inning. Will it be the end of Estes? He's troubled by some sort of problem. 3-0 New York.
And welcome back to Shea Stadium. The Mets are giving Mike Cameron the day off today. I spoke with Art Howe about that, and Art said that it is not injury related, but when I spoke with Mike, he told me that the team approached him about going on the DL after last night's game, but Mike does not want to say that his hitting problems are because of the problem he's having with his hand right now. He said right now he just can't hit balls that he usually hits. And they also talked a little bit about surgery. Mike said that is out of the question. He does not want to sit out at all this season. In fact, he wasn't too happy about being out today's game, guys.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. We were talking with Mike before yesterday's game. He said the same thing, that he has to spend a lot more time in the trainer's room than he wants to just to get ready to play. Struck out 3 times last night, but he's having a lot of trouble taking that ball to right field. That's where the pain really is for Mike. That's not a huge part of his game, but also in checking his swing, the pain runs through that ligament tear in that pinky.
And it's always back there in your subconscious. I mean, you know, if I move the wrong way, if I put pressure here, if I put pressure there, I'm going to have a chance of irritated. He's going to get, you know, that little twinge of pain. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not going to drop you to your knees, but it certainly doesn't feel good. It's something to look forward to.
I think he was really disgusted that he's injured. That was what I got from my conversation with Mike Cameron, that as it doesn't happen to him. A little flare on the infield, caught by Matsui. 2 down, and still Colorado without a base runner today against Tom Glavine.
Well, we're getting some shaking heads from the Colorado players, and they are really directed at the umpire. No balls, 2 strikes. Yes, swing the bat. And Clayton tries to collapse and get the bat head to the ball. Does not do it. An easy little pop for the shortstop Matsui. And 11 in a row now for Tom Glavine.
Vinny Castilla now 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first inning. And he takes the first one low for ball 1. .314 with 12 homers and 39 RBIs. Back to the hill. Second play for Glavine in this frame. 1, 2, 3 they go. That was the case in the first, the second, and the third innings as well. So far he's been perfect. 3-0 the Mets. Mets fans, don't miss your chance to participate in Dunkin' Donuts' charitable online auction to benefit the Mets Foundation. You can log on to Mets.com, bid on a variety of unique Mets items and experiences, including the chance to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at Shea Stadium. The Mets Foundation dedicated to funding and promoting a variety of youth athletic and community-based programs in the Metro New York area. Visit Mets.com today to make your bid. Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien with you here on the WB11. Great day for ice cream. It's not been a great day for Colorado hits. They don't have one yet against Tom Glavine in his first 4 innings. The Mets have been slugging away with 4 hits, including 2 homers and 2 doubles. Shane Spencer 0 for 1. He's grounded out to third. Trickled toward third base, but foul. Spencer will be followed by Jason Phillips and then Ty Wigginton. Great to have you with us on this Sunday afternoon as the Mets look for the sweep over Colorado. In concert with that, should they get it, they will get to 500. And 22-22. You're talking about a team that lost 95 games last year. So this is a very important step. Art Howe actively talks about it in his clubhouse. The Mets on the field during batting practice today talking about getting to 500. Just outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And it is important, David. You say, well, 500, well, that's mediocre. You're middle of the road. You know, 50-50, whatever. It is a step. You know, the key word you just used in your sentence was it's a step in the right direction. Because mentally what happens when you get to 500, you don't want to go back the other side of it either. So it is a motivational thing as far as continuing to play good baseball. Okay, yeah, we got out of the under 500 territory, and we move into a new county, right? And we don't want to go back. Let's keep the level of intensity. Let's do all the things that's made us play well in the last couple of weeks or so.
Clayton comes in, fields, and throws out Spencer for out number 1 in the 4th inning. Jason Phillips coming up, and then Ty Wigginton. Jason Phillips trying to run his hitting streak to 7 in a row. So his batting average heading up. He's over that Mendoza line. I guess that's very similar to what the Mets have been going through as a unit, getting to that Mendoza line in effect at 500 and then staying above that. I guess you can say that's where your season starts. And in Jason Phillips' case,
for those people that don't know about the Mendoza line that might be viewing us on Sunday, you tell me. It's a player that played for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right, whose last name was Mendoza.
That's correct.
Who, by the way, had a batting average that well exceeded 200. So he likes the idea that he's forever connected to baseball history, and this particular phrase is on him. But he does want people to know, I think he hit about 239 lifetime, something like that.
But the point being is that Mario was his first name, am I correct? Mario Mendoza. And he was under 500 for the Pittsburgh Pirates in a ball club where everybody hit 340.
Under 200, yeah.
I mean under 200, excuse me. And so being below the Mendoza line was mean that you were below 200. Because we got viewers that, on a Sunday they'll watch a ball game and maybe not see us on a regular basis or whatever. Below the Mendoza line is you're under 200. Keith Hernandez calls it being on the interstate, where that first number is a 1, just that straight number, right?
Right.
So if you're under the Mendoza line, you're not even hitting 200, and that's not a good place to be if you're earning your living, part-time at least, by swinging your bat. I was, career-wise, under the Mendoza line. I have a lock on the Mendoza line at my batting average for my career.
What do you hit lifetime?
About $1.50.
So you were on I-50 for a long, long time, and the count 2-2 on Phillips. $154 we are told lifetime, but Tom Seaver.
It's a hard 154. There are a lot of line drives right at people.
And 12 home runs.
There's 12 home runs and a couple that won ball games for me too.
Inside on Phillips. Long at bat here for Jason. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
All right, Jason Phillips, when he gets to the driver's seat, can sit on fastball as a dead fastball hitter. And you get to 3-2. And the advantage swings to the hitter.
Indeed, 7 in a row for him now with a sharp base hit to left.
And 3-2 gets fastball from Estes.
Ty Wigginton, a hero last night. 0 for 1. As we go back to Friday, though, he tried to drop down to bunt, popped this one up, and was disgusted with himself. How about that reaction as he carried it over into the dugout? And then last night, what a difference a day makes in the big leagues, huh?
And the right arm going up immediately. He knew exactly the moment that he hit it. He had put the Mets ahead. They're going to right field, trying to hit the ball on the right side. That big hole on the right side between Hawking and Kit Pellow, the first baseman. There's Pellow holding. They're holding the runner at first on. Jason Phillips, which I don't fully understand, but that's never. There's never an end to a surprise in a ball game.
Holding one of the slowest runners that you're going to find in Jason Phillips, and no slide on Jason. I'll be the first one to tell you. But there's a big gap on the right side of the infield now. If Wigginton wants to go that way. Up high, 2-1. Is some of that a point of pride too? I mean, if you're the pitcher or the catcher, Charles Johnson, you don't want to be embarrassed by Jason Phillips stealing a base. If you fail to keep him close or at least pay attention to him, if you totally ignore him and he embarrasses you like that.
If I'm the pitcher, I don't want that big a hole on the right side.
Knocked down by Charles Johnson.
Somebody's not reading the scouting report. I mean, you have guys that can run and guys that can't run. I mean, that's not something that, you know, it isn't because you're not working hard enough or whatever. It's just the ability that God gave you to put one foot in front of the other. And Jason Phillips missed the, you know, large portion of that, whatever gift that he was given by God. And he just can't run. It just you can't really improve it. Now they're going to chase him back to first base. Somebody's not doing the scouting report, or somebody's not listening. They had runners at first and third last night. The Mets did. Phillips was at first base, and the pitcher to run through to first to hold him on.
A 3-1 pitch. Foul back. Jason Phillips did steal 11 bases somehow in the minor leagues.
The key word being what?
Somehow.
Somehow.
Has not stolen one in his brief major league career. Now, is the other possibility Colorado thinks maybe with 3-1, that was the previous guy, now 3-2, there might be a hit and run play. Get him leaning the wrong way. The 3-2 slap foul.
Well, one of the things Wigginton has done, and he sees that big hole on the right side, he has figured out that the Colorado Rockies are going to pitch him away, play him away. If you see the center fielder, he's over in right center. Last night he got a pitch middle in when he was ahead in the count. There you can see the center fielder, Reyes, over on the right side of second base. Last night he was ahead, got a pitch in, and hit it hard, just like that pitch in right there.
Fair ball inside third down the line. Phillips chugging into third. He'll pull up there. Galante applies the brakes. It's a double for Wigginton. Second and third, one out for the Mets. Looking to strike again here against Sean Estes. He pulled it just inside the bag for 2 bases.
Well, Sean Estes was going away, and trying to sneak a ball in and got it down where he could get the bat to it. And down in that left field corner with Phillips ending up on third and Wigginton ends up on second. His 5th double of the year.
For the Mets over the last week or so, beginning to get pretty good production out of the bottom guys in the order. Like Jason Phillips at number 6, Wigginton hitting 7th today.
And they're getting some extra base hits too, by the way.
Wigginton's hitting 4 straight now, about .325 his last 12 games with an at bat. And as mentioned, Jason Phillips is hitting 7 straight. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling Mets and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of Sterling Mets. Kaz Matsui, big day so far. A home run and a double. The base is about to be loaded up here with Glavine on deck. McEwing will be walked intentionally. And Glavine with a big opportunity to really bust it wide open against Sean Estes.
Well, it's no piece of cake against Tommy Glavine. Glavine this year hitting .250. He is 4 for 16, got a couple of RBIs. He is not an automatic out with the bat. He has helped himself a couple of times this season. Good athlete. He's a single-digit handicap player in golf. And you saw the wonderful fielding plays he's made in this ball game already. He's a fine athlete.
Glavine does have 1 career home run. Grounded out to second base his first trip. Estes really scuffling now. 24 pitches in this inning. He's already up to 70 in the bottom of the 4th. No place to put Glavine. And it's strike 1. Phillips, Wigginton, and McEwing on the bases. The Mets already in front 3-0. They hit 2 home runs off Estes in the first inning. Kaz Matsui and Cliff Floyd going yard. Inside, that one almost got Tom Glavine. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Fastball coming in off the plate and way in off the plate. No, I like runs, but I'm not taking one for the club on that one.
Almost got his jersey. On the outside corner for a called strike, 1-2.
Even if Tommy Glavine doesn't believe it, he's not going to say a word to the home plate umpire. He wants Larry Hanover to believe if that's a strike, fine. That's a big strike for this pitcher. It'll be a strike for me when I go out to the mound. Love a run, but boy, you don't want to give away what that umpire thinks of you on the mound about the strike zone.
Ground ball to third. Castilla coming home. Out there, on to first, out there. Double play, third to the catcher to the first baseman. And the side is retired. So the Mets loaded him up with only one out, could not score, but they have 3 against Colorado. New York Mets baseball is being brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealers. By Red Stripe, it's beer, hooray beer. And by Pontiac, fuel for the soul. Sunny hot day here at Shea Stadium. Great to have you with us on a Sunday here in the WB11. Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien with you. As the Mets close out this 3-game series with Colorado, not the homestand, a day off tomorrow. The Phillies come in Tuesday and Wednesday. Glavine has been superb. He's been perfect. In the first 4 innings, Colorado has no hits, no base runners. Charles Johnson will lead things off. He's gone 0 for 1. Tapping out to second. Grounds that one weakly. Wigginton up with it. And another ground ball out. Well, he's racking those up, 1 away in the 5th.
Well, we saw the effects of the big strike zone. I mean, at least we are seeing it, I think, as we're going along here. That is only the 43rd pitch by Tom Glavine. 42, obviously, after the 4th inning. Johnson going after the first pitch. And a very innocent ground ball to Wigginton in the 3rd.
Burnett's 0 for 1. Had a big night last night. 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and a triple. On a triple, he drove in 2 runs. And he led off the 9th inning in a 1-run game with a double. Eventually stranded there. Colorado left 13 men on base. And it seemed like getting hit on the back of the head with a Tyler Yates fastball in the 2nd inning woke him up. And he got angry after that. And he just started raking. He's never done a lot of that against Glavine, though. 5 out of 26 in their career battles. That's downstairs for a ball, 2-1.
That might be the first time he's been behind today. If you want to count 2 and 1 behind, and especially with Glavine, because he can throw the changeup over any time that he wants. He doesn't just have to throw a fastball. And guess what he threw? Changeup. Changeup, hitter-looking fastball, as he probably should. And you can see way out in front with the long swing by Burnitz.
So if he throws it there, 2-1. 2-2 now.
He can throw anything. The point being, he can throw anything. I mean, there are certain pitchers that reach a certain level, and Tommy Glavine is one of them. Because most pitchers, when you get to the point where it's 3-1 or 3-2, they get themselves in a hole. But Glavine, if it's only ball 3, it's only ball 3. You got to come. He's exactly right. But even at 3-2 or 2-0 or whatever it might be, Tommy Glavine is not in a hole.
Jeremy Burnett's out of that helmet, turning several shades of red there. Larry Vanover.
I thought he did a good job of selling it.
Well, now you wonder, did Vanover tell him something else? Did he tell him it was 3-2 and that should have been ball 4? Jeremy looked like he was barking at him a little bit.
He might have been saying, why'd you let me leave?
Crowd wants a strikeout. Fouled away by Burnitz. Jeremy signing a 2-year contract with Colorado. Did not have a real fun time in Los Angeles after the trade from the Mets in July. Hit just .204 for LA. Although he did hit 31 home runs for the season. The 3-2 pitch. Broken bat bloop on the infield, and Wigginton there. The crowd got particular delight in that at bat and how it ended, given Burnett's walk to first base. Now, here's a look at the Dodge trivia question. How many lefties have won 2 or more Cy Young awards? You're counting them up. Tom Glavine has done it. Randy Johnson has done it. How many for Spahn? Cut on and missed. How many for Sandy Koufax? 4 or 5.
I don't think it was here when Spahn good one. I don't know. I don't think it was around when Spawning was really rocking and rolling. Maybe it was. 57, 58. Who won the first one? Newcomb won the first one?
Yeah, I think you're right.
We won't have the discussion someplace on the road. We both have an iced tea and can really get into this.
All right, so the award began in 1956.
Newcomb for the Dodgers, I believe.
And Spahn won it in 57. And
Braves with the Yankees in the World Series
right.
in 57.
That was the one he won, by the way. So Spahny is not on that list.
Did you do the math on that?
Quick.
Yeah, you did. I mean, it was like,
you said
that was like Einstein. You
never
snapped on that number.
Never miss on that. Here's the 2-2 to Holiday. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 5 perfect innings for Tom Glavine. 1, 2, 3 go the Rockies again. The Mets lead it 3-0 at Shea. Mets fans, Pepsi invites you to show up at Shea on Wednesdays for free admission to the Pepsi picnic area. The first 1,000 fans with an empty Pepsi can or bottle will be admitted to the Pepsi picnic area for free. Enjoy the amazing action from the left field bleachers. The Wednesday action continues May 26th. Let's take on the Phillies at 7:10. So bring a Pepsi and show up at Shea for free. Great day to be out there soaking up the Rays. It is 3-0. The Mets in front. We're at the midway point as the Mets bid for a sweep of Colorado. Kaz Matsui leading off against Estes. And he led off the game with a home run for the second consecutive game. So the 5 leadoff home runs starting a ball game for Kaz Matsui, a new Met record. He's also added a double and has scored twice today. And you were asking, Tom, you posed the question, how many times has it been done where a major league hitter on consecutive days has homered to start the ball game for his team? Who has the record? And the record is, as we thought it would be, Ricky Henderson did it 3 times. I thought it would have been more than that with all the leadoff home runs he hit, but Ricky did it on 3 occasions. That's in there for strike 3-1. And that was the count when he homered in the first inning.
We will be able to get the statistics on how many leadoff hitters have hit back-to-back that are switch hitters.
3-2 now. You're putting a lot of pressure on the boys in the truck today.
Oh, no, that's ESPN. They'll come up with that. Those good. I mean, for whoever it is. I mean, they dig in. They get some stats that are just off, totally out of left field. Elias Sports, they get everything in the history of the game. Last night, Matsui, home run right field, left-handed. This game, boom, left-handed pitcher, home run, right-handed left field.
He takes ball 4. So Kaz on board for the 3rd time today in front of Danny Garcia. We're talking about left-handers who've won more than 2 Cy Youngs, 2 or more. We forgot Steve Carlton. He's got to be on that list. How many lefties have won 2 or more Cy Young awards?
What do you mean we, Kimasabi, is what I'm talking about.
All right, well, I forgot. Lefty. Randy Johnson, 5. We got everybody on the list, though. Glavine, Koufax, Carlton.
I've got everybody on my list. Yes.
You did. That's everybody you did. Get everyone on that list. Well done, Tom Seaver.
I did have 4 for Randy Johnson, which I was quickly corrected by Mr. O'Brien, by the way.
Center field, backing up Reyes. Well hit by Garcia, but he'll make the catch.
Wow.
Danny Garcia put a little life into that one. Yeah,
Ball,
Reyes maybe battling the sun.
Ball carrying farther to right center than Reyes thought it was. I mean, I did not think that Garcia hit that well either, but that ball almost made the warning track. You see Old Glory in center field on this fabulous day at Shea Stadium.
Well, the wind did not mess with Cliff Floyd in the first inning. A long home run off the scoreboard in right center field. Then he drove in another run in the 3rd inning with a ground ball to the pitcher. Matsui back in. We'll see if Kaz Matsui is taking off, and a look back at the home run by Cliff Floyd.
Fastball just about thigh high. That signage out there at the bottom of the scoreboard. 420 feet?
420.
Wow.
Number 4 for Floyd. Kaz Matsui so far with 3 stolen bases. Of course, you have a lefty up there with a good move. He's been caught stealing twice. Massive cut by Floyd on a pitch up. Not really where he likes it. 1-1.
Well, you saw the home run that he hit. It was about mid-thigh high, and that one's up above the top of the strike zone. That's actually a good pitch by Sean Estes. It's real good to the hitters, but they just can't get on top of that ball. Dangerous territory up there.
Matsui can certainly take another step or a half step anyway on the lead because he has the protection of a left-handed hitter acting as a pick for Charles Johnson, the catcher. CJ cannot see down to first base very well, especially a big guy like Cliff Floyd standing right in his window. Not running, and it's outside. 2-1. Kaz Matsui stole 13 bases last season for Cebu in Japan, 33 the year before. Go back to 1997, his best year stealing bases. He lifted 62. He's holding, and it's on the outside corner, says Larry Vanover. The pitch has been there for Glavine today.
And that's the Sean Estes curveball right there. A little bit flatter. Yeah, that's a good one. Cliff Floyd has had real good swings on the fastball, and he didn't like that curveball.
Wouldn't chase it, he checked. And it's a full count, 3-2. For the Mets, 3 runs on 6 hits, including home runs by Matsui and Floyd. For Colorado, through 5 innings, no runs, no hits, no base runners off of Tom Glavine.
Well, the question obviously here, 1 out, left-hand pitcher, left-hand hitter, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 3-run lead. Do you start Matsui? I would think so. You have potential to strike him out, thrown out. Real good defensive arm behind home plate. The equation really rests on whether you think that Cliff Floyd can put the ball in play.
Runner not going, and it swung on and missed. A good idea to hold him as Floyd strikes out.
And that would have been an easy double play.
So 2 down in front of Mike Piazza.
Now makes the right decision. Breaking ball on 3-2. Big swing by Floyd out of the strike zone. That kind of situation right there. Charles Johnson with that pitch would have thrown out Ricky Henderson.
Mike today a double and a fly to right. He's 1 for 2. He's hit in 10 straight. He's always hammered away at Colorado pitching, whether it be at Shea Stadium or Coors Field, or for that matter before that, Mile High when they played there. Last year, Piazza hit .476 against Colorado with 4 homers. Fastball in there at the knees for a strike, 1-1. Sean Estes has been bouncing around the last several years. Since 2001, he's pitched for the San Francisco Giants, for the Mets, Cincinnati, and the Cubs, and now Colorado. So 5 clubs over a 4-year period. Trying to keep his career alive. Fouled back, 1-2.
Mike Piazza just missed that one. Sitting fastball, got fastball a little bit late. Take a look at it again. Boys right down on it. Just hit the bottom after the ball. Maybe tried to pull it a little bit too much. You can really tell by the swing of Piazza when he's got everything going together and gets that head down and gets that ball out in front of, right out in front of his left hip. And as a pitcher, you see that, and as a catcher, you should see that as well.
You make a great point about how still Mike's head is.
Yep.
When he's locked in like this.
Yeah. And you might get a stolen base try here too. If Piazza get him to man to second base if you can, and if they throw him out, boom, you got Piazza leading off next inning. Yep.
Yeah, he's running, got a pretty good jump. It's popped up. Racing out, Hawking. He had gone to cover, and he will make the catch over the shoulder. Side retired. No runs or hits. 1 man left. Tom Glavine still has not allowed a base runner today. A look at the Lexus line score with the Mets in front 3-0 as we go to the top half of the 6th inning. You see all the hits for New York and nothing yet for Colorado. Glavine getting them 1, 2, 3 in each inning, so it's 15 in a row retired to start his afternoon. 55 pitches and 36 for strikes. Kit Pellow will lead things off out of the number 7 spot as he takes a strike. He whiffed in the 3rd inning. He'll be followed by Rene Reyes, and then Estes is scheduled to hit out of the 9 spot. We'll see if they keep him out there, trailing 3-0. No activity in the bullpen. Estes has the helmet on and the bat. Looks like he's going to be coming up to hit as the number 3 man in the inning. Time asked for by Pellow there and granted by Larry Vanover. One pitch fouled away off into the crowd to the right. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Glavine with 4 strikeouts so far. He's had 7 ground ball outs recorded, including a couple of comebackers. Little trickler. It's Glavine again. 1 down. 16 in a row. I'm trying to think of something that was really hit hard in this game.
Not yet.
And there isn't one.
Not yet. And these fans at Shea Stadium know what's going on here.
Rene Reyes now 0 for 1. He's grounded to short. Reyes has been a very good hitter, as mentioned, in their minor league system. In fact, the only 2-time league MVP in Rocky history, and a rookie league and the Sally League. Has not hit in the big leagues yet. On 1 hop, that one gets to Matsui. 2 down. The pitcher coming up. The Lexus out of town scores now on the National League scoreboard. Atlanta has a 3-0 lead over the Dodgers. San Francisco and Montreal playing in San Juan. Later on, it'll be Arizona taking on the Florida Marlins. The American League Yankees have an early lead. Same with Boston, Cleveland, Tampa Bay in a 4-4 tie. Estes swings, fly ball center field. There's McEwing waiting on it. He's got it. 18 in a row. Retired by Tom Glavine. He is perfect through 6 innings on this Sunday at Shea Stadium. The Mets lead it 3-0. Shea, wearing a military uniform or not, appreciating the effort, the masterful effort so far of Tom Glavine. Hardly anybody near him. He is alone with his thoughts. 6 innings, no hits, no base runners of any kind, 62 pitches, 41 strikes. Shane Spencer starting the bottom of the 6th of the Mets, ahead 3-0. It was just Tuesday night that Randy Johnson, a big unit, tossed a perfect game for the Arizona Diamondbacks against the Atlanta Braves. Tom Glavine, 38 years old, has never thrown a no-hitter. Spencer lofts a fly along the right field line. That'll reach the seats. Today, Shane 0 for 2. He's grounded out to 3rd and short. Jason Phillips up next, and then Ty Wigginton. The Mets with a stirring victory last night, thanks to the bullpen and Ty Wigginton. Bullpen had to come on in the 5th inning and shut down Colorado the rest of the way after Yates had allowed 4 runs. And then Ty Wigginton slammed what turned out to be the game-winning home run with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. The 2-run shot put New York in front 5-4. Braden Looper shut the door in the 9th inning for the save. That's a corner strike on Spencer. 2-2.
Watch Spencer shaking his head after that pitch too. That should be right on the corner. Yeah, just nix it. Way outside. He's either shaking his head at the umpire and saying, no, I can't hit that anyway.
Estes with the payoff pitch. Foul tipped. Sean Estes appears to have shaken off his physical problems that he had a couple of innings ago, and a trainer had to come out and visit. And we were guessing at the time that it might be a leg problem or an arm problem. You wouldn't figure he'd still be out there. He had trouble loosening up with the legs. That one outside for ball 4 on Spencer. The third man that Estes has walked today, and now he'll take on Jason Phillips.
Leadoff walk here for the Mets in this inning, trying to add to their 3-0 lead. Sean Estes closing in on 100 pitches, 98 so far. And to put in perspective, Tommy Glavine threw 6 innings, 62 pitches.
Just 62. And because of that, the Mets have spent just 22 minutes in the field defensively today. A little bit different story with Estes, who has labored a bit to throw 99. I mean, with Glavine today, you barely have time to grab your glove, get out to your position, get warmed up, and then you're coming back in again. And the inning's over that quickly. Fastball to the corner for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Well, our viewers have heard me say it more than once. Obviously, the better defenses you have, as you look at the bullpen for the Colorado Rockies, Steve Reed throwing down there, the better defense. I mean, the quicker you work, the more strikes you throw, the better defense you have played behind you. There is no doubt in the world. Everybody's on their toes.
Runner goes Spencer. The tag there. He's safe. He got in there. Was not a great throw. It was on the high side, not right to the bag. And Spencer kept on running and slides in safely.
Mediocre throw and a bad tag at second base. And if you're picked off, just go. Just bust it and hope the defense will not execute correctly. They did not execute correctly. Actually, it was not a good slide by Spencer because he went way past the bag before he even got there. He was actually in there by a mile.
His third stolen base. Swing and a miss by Phillips. He's down on strikes. 1 gone, although Estes thinks there ought to be 2.
That looked like a fastball just got right by him. May have been a little cutter. Cut underneath his hands.
Ty Wigginton now. He struck out and doubled. The Mets up 3-0 in the 6th. And if you're just joining us, if you've been out and about, maybe barbecuing or down at the beach or birthday parties or something else going on, celebrating an anniversary, here's the story. Tom Glavine is throwing a perfect game through 6 innings for the Mets. And it's at that point in a game where a guy's going for a no-hitter, in this case for perfection, when everybody in the ballpark is now fully aware of it. As now you're starting to move into the late innings, and there's legitimacy to the effort. The runner goes. CJ's throw. The tag not in time. Another stolen base for Spencer. His second in the inning. They gave Charles Johnson no chance at all.
Huge jump at second base. Good heads up right base running at second base by the base runner Shane Spencer. Look at that. I thought he had time. He did not. That was a great play at second base by Spencer. Big jump and good head first slide.
The only thing that made it remotely close to third base was the cannon that Charles Johnson has. The 4-time Gold Glover. But now with 1 down, they're going to have to bring in the infield with a runner at third base, and a fly ball of any depth will bring in Spencer. Make it 4-0. 2-2. Cueing the on-deck hitter.
Or is this a hitter's dream? Got the infield in. Runner on third base. Less than 2 outs. And now the count 3-2.
continues to warm up in the Colorado bullpen. And the 3-2 from Estes. That is in there for a strike. Wigginton didn't think so, and now he's finally going to turn around and acknowledge that he has been struck out. 2 down.
I think he knew it. He was trying to buy it, and I think 3-2 with a Joe McEwen in the on-deck circle. He was looking breaking ball right there. Thinking breaking ball because he is an inside middle-in hitter, and he's trying to buy a base on balls. Either that or Larry Vanover did not make a sound. The reason he'd look for a breaking ball there in that situation, Joe McEwen is not a guy that can hit that ball out of the ballpark as a general rule. And if you walk him with 1 out, then you can move that middle infield back, play for double play. And I think it totally fooled Ty Wigginton. And he is a dead fastball hitter.
So McEwen will be put on intentionally in front of Tom Glavine. 2 down here. Runners about to be on the corners. Glavine so far today 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second, also hit into a bases loaded double play. Glavine absolutely superb from the very first pitch of the day, which was strike 1 on the leadoff hitter Denny Hawking. Trying to add to his 3-0 lead right here. And he takes the curveball for a strike. The Mets with the lead 3-zip, but they do not have a hit with a man in scoring position today. They're 0 for 6 in these spots. There it is, a base hit the other way. That chases in Spencer. 4-0. Just might be one of those magical afternoons for Tom Glavine. Give him an RBI on the single to left field. 4-0.
We talked earlier about Tommy Glavine being a good athlete, and this gets the pitch away, just knocks it in that hole between Clayton and Castilla. Nothing more than try to put the ball in play, hit a hole, and get yourself a run. Good aggressive base running by Spencer at second base, getting over to third. Don't forget that.
So Estes cannot survive the 6th inning. Glavine knocks him out. Our Verizon call to the bullpen. Make progress every day, and we'll be right back. Sean Estes came into the ballgame with a 6-2 record, but he leaves here in the 6th inning with runners at first and second, giving way to Steve Reed, sinker slider guy with a submarine delivery from the right side. And the first pitch is across for a strike on Kaz Matsui. The runners on, McEwen and Glavine. Tommy Glavine just singling in Shane Spencer moments ago. Reed, a guy who works a lot. He appeared in 67 games this season ago. A 3.27 ERA for Colorado. That's like $1.50 someplace else. 0-2 on Matsui. Kaz 2 for 2, a solo homer to begin the day. His 5th of the year. 5 leadoff home runs. That is a new Met record. Popped up on the infield. Clayton coming in and calling everybody off for the catch. And the side is retired, so Reed gets his man. Tommy Glavine has gotten every man today as he continues his bid for a no-hitter. New York Mets baseball is being brought to you by Honda. See your Honda dealer and discover the great values now being offered. By Newsday, with all the local news and information you won't find anywhere else. And by GMC, we are professional grade. Back at Shea Stadium, where Tom Glavine has seen 18 Colorado Rockies. He has retired them all since getting Denny Hawking to ground out to second to begin his start. He gets Hawking again to begin the 7th. He's grounded to second and also tapped back to the pitcher. And the first one is wide for ball 1. Royce Clayton follows, and then Vinny Castilla. Mets leading here 4-0. Glad you're with us on this Sunday. A hot, steamy day. Glavine has been perfect. That's over but a little bit low, and the count 2-0.
And a couple things to consider. One great thing is Tommy Glavine threw only 62 pitches. The longest he has gone this year. He got 2 outs into the 8th inning against Arizona.
On the edge and a count 2-1. By the way, when it was 2-0, first time he's gone to 2-0 on any hitter today.
And we don't get to 62 pitches and through 6 innings being behind hitters, no question about it. That one, perfect 2-0 pitch right on the corner.
A little barking from the Colorado dugout. Glenn Hurdle, Larry Vanover. Vanover taking off the mask.
Well, they're yelling out there. He doesn't need any help. The standard lines from the bench.
2-2 now. Todd Helton out of the lineup throughout the series except as a pinch hitter on Friday night. He's had back issues. Just outside. Full count. No base runners yet for Colorado.
The first kind of reaction I got from Tommy Glavine, I think he wanted that pitch right there. It looked like it was off the plate away from where it was caught, and just by a fraction.
3-2 pitch. High for ball 4. Well, that's the end of the bid for a perfect game. Hawking is on the first walk of the day issued by Glavine.
Take a look at our Acura defensive gem brought to you by your Acura dealers. It's been all Tommy Glavine. Pitching wise, strikeouts down, strikeouts up, and off the mound, picking it like you can pick it as an outstanding defensive pitcher, helping yourself. Another good play off the mound. And he got himself a base hit and an RBI. Not too shabby a day so far. Right now you concentrate. And that's a big, okay, you got the big load off your mind. Perfect game's gone. Yeah, you got a no-hitter, but you know what? You also have a 4-0 lead, and I think that's right where you're focused right now.
Clayton 0 for 2. He's flying to center and lined out weakly to short. He took a big cut. He's a 6-footer, but he swings like he's about 6'4", 240. He's always had that big man's cut. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Glavine for the first time today working with a man on. 1-2.
You know, I thought about we were in commercial. You know, watch Tommy go out there and you talk about pitchers who are terrible creatures of habit. And he's gone through 6 innings, not 1 base runner, and he finishes warm-up pitches in between innings, the last couple out of the stretch. That's the way I do it. Don't care if we haven't anybody on all day. I throw the last couple out of the stretch.
Got him swinging. Clayton down on strikes. 1 out in the 7th.
Number 5 for Tommy Glavine. Looked like a high fastball, threw it right by him. No, low fastball right down Broadway, and a huge swing by Clayton with 2 strikes. He's trying to hit the proverbial 4-run home run right there with 1 man on.
Tom Glavine with 8 outs to get. For the first no-hitter in New York Met history, Castilla has struck out and grounded back to the mound, and he takes low. I was just thinking, watching the exchange between Vanover and Hurdle. Conservatively, how many times has Glavine stepped off the rubber while an umpire and an opposing manager have exchanged words about whether it's a strike or not? 5,000 or 6,000 times I mean, over the course of his career. 1 ball and 1 strike on Castilla.
Try to break concentration. Try to divert attention. You know, but you got a crusty veteran on the mound. Nothing's going to, you know, mentally's going to bother Glavine.
Dribbler foul.
Change up right there. Just mixing pitches up perfectly. Hard stuff in, hard stuff up, and soft stuff away. And when you get the hitters right in the cradle. I mean, they are swinging the pitches out of the strike zone. When they're thinking fastball, you throw the changeup. The changeup, Tommy Glavine throws the fastball, and it's almost like a 6th sense that you've got. You know what the hitter is thinking.
The 1-2 outside. The count even on Castilla, and again coming into today, Vinny Castilla, 321 lifetime off Glavine with a homer. Hawking leading at first. Just inside. And another 3-2 pitch about to be made. Charles Johnson up next. Hawking, the only man to reach first base all day against Glavine, getting his lead. The 3-2 rattled foul. So Tom Glavine carrying a perfect game into this inning, the 7th, walks the leadoff man on the same day that Randy Johnson, who threw a perfect game on Tuesday night, is going to the mound against the Marlins in Florida a little bit later. 3-2. Popped him up. Short right. Garcia out. Spencer in. Garcia's got it. 2 down in the 7th. So for Tom Glavine, 7 outs to get. Charles Johnson now, he's gone 0 for 2.
That was a big pitch, 3-2. Castillo could sit on a certain pitch. I mean, Jack Glavine just made a better pitch than, well, you couldn't have made a better pitch in that situation. Got the fastball in on his hands.
On the edge for a called strike. That's the exact same pitch he started the day with.
And he has painted out there all day, and it's pretty much been a strike all day. When the catcher catches it, it looks like it's down below the strike zone. Looks like a strike when it's going across the plate.
1-1. Johnson, excellent power, 9 home runs. The Rockies without a hit. Johnson is grounded out twice. He takes one low. In this inning here in the 7th, Glavine has gone to 3-2 on a couple of hitters. He's done that 4 times so far. Weekly hit. Matsui waits on it. Plenty of time to get Johnson. Sign retired. Through 7 innings, Tom Glavine is throwing a no-hitter at Shea Stadium. He has 6 outs left to do what he's never done in his career. Our Jeep game summary, and here it is as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Mets with a 4-0 lead. Tom Glavine has not given up a hit. He has walked a batter, but that's all. Matsui with a homer. Cliff Floyd has homered. And Shane Spencer with the first 2 stolen base game of his career. And Glavine drove him in with a base hit. So you may be tuning in on some history today. The Mets have never had a no-hitter. Tom Glavine has never thrown a no-hitter. He has 6 more outs to make that happen. And they really haven't had anything close to a hit. What is going through his mind right now, Tom Shooter?
Well, you got a crusty veteran, and he knows exactly what's going on. Now he's thinking about just get ahead. You can't keep it. It's just as simple as you possibly can. Nobody wants to talk to him. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. Keep yourself hydrated. Keep yourself nice and cool. You reach that level of the game, and you understand how to discipline yourself to keep your emotions, keep a top on them.
Even if you've never thrown one.
Absolutely. This is a crusty old veteran. One of the great terms in all of baseball. He's a crusty old veteran. Well, that means that he's been around long enough to control that thing in there called emotion and never let it be used against you. You know when the top comes off, when the last pitch is thrown, etc., yes, it all comes out. And it's a time to enjoy life again. But this is, it is all business. And pitchers know that in order for them to be able to compete at this level, it is focus 100% of the time. And the farther you go along, the easier it is.
Swinging a foul away by Danny Garcia. On the day, he is 0 for 2. He'll be followed by Floyd and then Piazza. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning, the Mets in front 4-0, bidding for a sweep of Colorado. The victory today also gets the Mets to 500 at 22-22. All of that is on the back burner because of what Glavine has done so far today. Check swing, lob, foul off to the right. Now Glavine on 2 occasions has thrown a 2-hitter. I should say 6 times he's done that, allowing 2 hits in a game, most recently in 1998. So all of those with Atlanta. The 0-2 way outside on Garcia. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Floyd next. A towering home run for Cliff early in the game. That was in the very first inning. One two by the pitcher. Clayton will gobble it up from behind second. He throws on to get Garcia. Every weekday morning at 5:30 you can join John Muller, Lynn White, Linda Church and Emily Francis for the WB11 Morning News. You'll get news, traffic, weather, celebrities and a few surprises. The WB11 Morning News. You rise, they'll shine. Cliff Floyd with 2 RBIs today, the homer and a ground out in the 3rd inning that brought in a run. Since then he has struck out. So Cliff is 1 for 3. Reed's pitch on the outside corner. Mets have 7 hits today. One ball and 1 strike. Arizona and Florida are underway. 0-0 first inning, as they're just getting started just moments ago. Randy Johnson on the mound, coming off his perfect game as he goes for the Diamondbacks against Dontrell Willis. That's a high octane matchup, those two. As was Glavine against the big unit when they squared off.
That was one of those games, no matter how long you've been around it, you would pay admission to see it. A couple of matchups around in baseball that would be magical to see. I'll tell you what I would do. I'd walk in to see Clemens and Mark Pryor go at each other.
That's going to happen at some point. Yeah.
Sooner or later it will, when the Cubs and the Astros match up.
Pryor still DL'd. Piazza next. Inside, Floyd laying off that pitch, and it's a full count.
No, that would be a good one too. Clemens and Randy Johnson too, wouldn't it? You look at the last pitch, as they say, came around the plate. A couple of 40-year-olds are really still bringing it.
3-2 nubbed. How about this one, rolling fair to third, nobody there, and it's a base hit for Cliff Floyd. Man, did he take a cut. Barely off the end of the bat, rolls it to third base.
What a funny day for Cliff Floyd. Right off the end of the bat, the changeup. That ball went 91 feet. 91 feet. By the time Castilla picked it up, it was about a foot past the baseline from second to third. He's got a home run of 420 feet. He's got an RBI in a ball that he hit about 35 feet. That Estes picked up and tagged him out with. And Matsui scored from third base. They're going to look like line drives tomorrow in the newspaper. He's got an RBI and a hit. Together, they're probably, let's see, 90 to 100, maybe 100 feet between them. No, 90, 120 feet maybe.
Yeah. But he gets an RBI on one and a single on the other.
You notice I was a math major when I added that 90 and that 30, right? I gotta love it tomorrow. That first cup of coffee tomorrow, and you can see all those crooked numbers to the right of my name, except for strikeouts.
Piazza lifts a fly to right field. Burnett's closing to the line, but that's a foul ball. And 0-2 on Piazza. 4-0 the Mets. Inching closer to a sweep, and maybe closer to Met history. Tom Glavine pitching here in the 43rd season of New York Mets baseball. A franchise that has never known a no-hitter. 0-2 is inside on Piazza. Sean Estes started today for Colorado. He went 5 2/3. He allowed 4 runs on 7 hits. Got off to a rocky start for the lefty. Kaz Matsui took him out of the ballpark. First batter that Estes faced. So Matsui with home runs to lead off the game on consecutive days. And then last night batting left-handed, today hitting right-handed. He's also added a double. Cliff Floyd homered in the first inning as well. On the infield, Hawking has it, flips to second, 1 on to first, double play, side retired. Well, that's the end of 7, but we're moving ahead to the 8th inning as Tom Glavine closes in on a no-hitter. Our Lexus Lions score. The Mets with a 4-0 lead through 7 innings. They have out-hit Colorado 8-0. No errors in the ball game. The Rockies with just 1 base runner, and that was a walk to Denny Hawking. Mike Cameron comes into the ball game now in center field. McEwing moves from center to first base. So Mike Piazza finished for the day. But Tom Glavine far from it. 83 pitches. He did throw 21 in the last inning. 5 strikeouts. And he'll get Burnitz and Holiday as the first 2 hitters up in this inning. In there for strike 1. Burnitz is grounded to second and popped out to the third baseman. And missed away. 1 ball, 1 strike. The crowd groaning with every pitch that is remotely close to the plate that is not called a strike by Larry Vanover. Along first, it'll roll foul. 1-2. Fly ball left field. Floyd sees it. In a few strides, he's got it. 1 down in the 8th inning. 5 outs away for Glavine. Matt Holliday coming up next. He has fly to center and struck out. Check swing, and that went out of the mid for ball 1. A little high. Actually foul tip. Now Vanover says it's a foul strike. So it's 0-1 instead of 1-0. So everything going right for Glavine. Even the umpire is changing his mind on occasion. One ball, 1 strike. Holiday came in a .294 hitter with 7 homers. Just a little wide. 2-1. Fouled back. Even up now. 2-2. He's been that good all day since the opening hitter. When he's missed, it's been 1.5 inches. Flared foul off to the right. Still 3-2 on Holiday. has thrown a no-hitter back in 1996. That was against Colorado. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 2 down in the 8th. Number 6 for Glavine. Holiday trying with the uppercut swing to knock it into the outfield. He comes up empty. Here's Kit Pellow, 0 for 2, a strikeout. He's also grounded back to Glavine. Into the dirt for ball 1. Tommy Glavine, 4 outs away from a no-hitter. So far today, he has thrown 95 pitches, 59 for strikes. Only 1 man has reached first base, and that was on a walk to Denny Harkey. Fly ball right field. Spencer backing up. It's sailing over his head and up against the fence. Pellow heading into second. That's the first hit of the day for Colorado. The no-hitter is gone. But listen to this crowd at Shea. With 2 down in the 8th inning, the Rockies come up with their first hit. Kit Pellow with the double off the right field fence.
On pitch number 96 from Tommy Glavine, opposite field off the fence. And now it's exhale and get yourself 1 more out and get out of this inning.
Rene Reyes 0 for 2 as he lifts a foul out of play for a strike. So Tom Glavine finally looks back at the scoreboard, sees a number in the hit column other than a 0 for the Colorado Rockies.
Take a look at the double. Pitch on the outside part of the plate and a good piece of hitting by Pellow to go the other way. And you're talking about strong. That's the opposite field. Off the wall on 1 ball, no strike pitch. Little body language. Tommy Glavine was trying to get that ball to hook to the right or slice to the right and get out of play.
But almost no reaction at all as far as losing the no-hitter.
Well, that's the way he is, too. That's his entire demeanor. It's part of his makeup on the man. Nothing's going to upset him.
Trying to check. He strikes out. Foul tipped in the mid for strike 3. The no-hitter gone. But what a day for Glavine at Shea Stadium.
Celebrating 4 decades.
Bottom half of the 8th inning coming up. The Mets with a 4-0 lead against the Colorado Rockies as they try and sweep them. Tom Glavine, who had a perfect game into the 7th inning, then walked a man, had a no-hitter with 2 out in the 8th, and moments ago gave up a double off the right field fence. Certainly not a cheapie by Kit Pellow as he drove it off the wall on the fly. And he comes back and strikes out Rene Reyes. So right now it's a 1-hitter. He still has the victory and the shutout to complete. But Glavine going 8 into the 8th inning, 7 2/3 before giving up a hit. Braden Looper up in the bullpen after picking up the save last night. So Glavine remaining there in the dugout. Just a fantastic effort. That might be the first time I've seen Tommy smile all day. Maybe some relief there.
It's all over.
Well, not quite all over.
No, I mean, it's from the standpoint of emotion, the emotion aspect of it. I mean, it looks like Braden Luter's in the coming to the ball game. Sean Chacon coming in for the Rockies, but the emotion is over for him. I mean, he has a very straight face, doesn't show emotion, and it's all just a product of discipline, just a manifestation of what you do as a professional athlete to keep all the emotions, all the likes, dislikes, I don't like you, you don't like, keep it all under control. And that's how he does it. What is Greg? Do you ever see Greg Maddox show emotion?
Almost never.
Almost a little
than
bit.
Tom Glavine.
A little bit, but I'm saying to you, you know.
Yeah.
And some guys have. How about the other end of the spectrum? What about Al Leiter?
If Al Leiter loses that no-hitter in that spot, I mean, he's coming out of his skin.
You get everybody out of here and then charge of admission just to come back and to see what would happen.
Al was a blast to watch, though, his no-hitter. I called that 1996.
Oh, I'm sure that must have been a kick in the rear end.
Gyrating, and I mean, he was incredible.
Body language on every baseball hit.
A live wire, if you've ever seen him. And just dominating. He was filthy against Colorado. 1996, the first no-hitter in Marlin history. They've had 3 of them. Charles Johnson caught that one for Al Leiter. Phillips taking a strike. Jason today 1 for 3. And by no means, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with. I mean, obviously Tom Glavine's won 256 games. He does a whole lot of things right. One of them is keeping his emotions in check. But to me, this is one of the things that makes him such a great pitcher. It's impossible for me to think when he gives up the first hit in the 8th inning with 2 out, he's that close to a no-hitter and shows no trace of emotion. He was going to back up 3rd.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing on his face other than, well, I got to go. I got a job to do.
We talked about him going out there warming up and throwing from the stretch when he had a perfect game going. But it's discipline. I mean, let me look at it. I got to go back 2 pages, and I can tell you, we're talking about Major League service. We're talking about a guy in his 18th year of the big leagues. You think he doesn't know exactly what he has to do for himself? What a play by Castilla, and he has put on a show in the last couple of days.
Yeah, he's made a bunch of them.
He knows exactly what he has to do to keep himself at a competitive height and be consistent when he goes to that mound.
Look at the out-of-town scores brought to you by Lexus. Atlanta with a lead on L.A. in the 7th inning. They were rained out in San Juan. The Phillies leading San Diego. That's been a terrific series between those two. During the 2nd inning, Randy Johnson on the mound against the Marlins. That's the start following his perfect game on Tuesday night. In the American League, the Yankees leading Texas. Boston with a 6-2 lead on Toronto. They're in the 4th inning. Slapped into right field, a base hit for Ty Wigginton, who has gone 2 for 4 today. And single joining his double in the 4th inning. So a 2-out hit for the Mets third baseman sends up Joe McEwing, who has gone from center field to first base today. And Tom Glavine will remain in the game with a chance to hit after McEwing. Well, he's just been brilliant today, and in the batter's box too with an RBI single. It's certainly not the same Colorado team that you might see again if you're the New York Mets a little later in the season. Larry Walker trying to get back in that lineup. Helton has been held out because of back trouble. Preston Wilson injured. But what they put on the field, Glavine has really dominated. The runner goes. Charles Johnson's throw, the tag, and not in time. So another stolen base. They've been running on the combination of pitcher and Charles Johnson today.
Check the jump by Ty Wigginton, and a good one. Base hit that he got to right field. The Rockies have been trying to get him to hit to right field. He's done it, and he's finally figured it out, and hitting that ball through that hole to right field. Crushed him last night with that home run to left field, 2-run home run, which is a game winner. Well, let's see if they'll pitch to Joe McEwing and whether Glavine really is staying in the ball game. I would think so. Braden Looper's in the bullpen, not really throwing. He is up in the bullpen. Tommy Glavine still pitching a shutout. He's still just at about 100 pitches. And he has gone the longest the Met pitcher has gone since April of 1992 when David Cone went 7 2/3. We have the no-hitter.
In there for a strike. And the count 3-1. The Mets do not have a complete game by any pitcher this year. So there's added incentive for Glavine.
That's the other thing, too. On the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, the last 3 years, Tom Glavine has had 3 complete games. 2 of those have been shutouts.
38 years old, an opportunity. Hit sharply down Pellow. And the side is going to be retired on that play, and that's it. One man left. We are moving on to the 9th inning. The Mets leading it 4-0 against the Colorado Rockies. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lexus dealers who invite you to test drive a Lexus today. By Newsday, with all the local news and information you won't find anywhere else. By your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. By Verizon, make progress every day. By your Tri-State Quality Ford store with the best-selling vehicles in America. By the Office of the New Jersey Attorney General. If you suspect insurance fraud, call 1-877-55-FRAUD. And by Infinity, makers of the full-size QX56. On to the 9th inning here. Tom Seaver, Dave O'Brien from Shea. And for Tom Glavine, it's been a near perfect afternoon and a near no-hit afternoon, but he's lost both the perfect game and the no-no. Now trying for a complete game shutout and a one-hitter. He's allowed only the Kit Pellow double with 2 out in the 8th inning. The Mets have had 26 one-hitters in franchise history. Glavine came within 4 outs of the first no-hitter for the Mets. Right through there for a strike.
And defended his position extremely well. Base hit and RBI. Well, a guy having a pretty good day. Tom Glavine certainly has here today at Shea. I mean, all around, just everything. Feeling his position, hitting. Certainly has been spectacular throwing the baseball. Like a fastball away. Yeah, and a good one. Still throwing the ball very well. 100 pitches so far going into this inning. And Tommy Glavine trying to get a shutout. No shutouts last year. One each the 2 years before that. Got him.
Green will take a seat. He strikes out, which means Glavine has struck out 3 of the last 4 batters. That was around that first hit, the double by Pellow with 2 out in the 8th inning. Here's his reaction after the Pellow fly ball that struck the right field fence on the fly.
He's trying to get the ball to slice to the right. Go on, slice, get out, get over. Nope, not going to do it.
And go back up third.
Yep, go back up third. All right, it's all over. Go back up there. Don't let him get down there. Still got a shutout going. 8 strikeouts. That's what I've got, David, in this ball game, and that's a guy like Glavine. That's a lot.
8 strikeouts, 1 hit, 1 walk. Into the 9th inning. 1 down. Here's Denny Hawking. He was the man that broke up the perfect game bid by drawing ball 4 in the 7th inning.
Vanover almost called that pitch strike too. He wanted to ring it up. He's had a big strike zone today, but he's been relatively consistent, and that's what you want.
Fly right field. Spencer, plenty of time to get back. 2 down. Now today has been Military Appreciation Day here at Shea Stadium. Athletic competition and preparation for warfare, not the same thing. No one would dare place them on the same plateau, but a lot of the military types in the crowd today have to appreciate Tommy Glavine's ability to keep his emotions in check and his diligence to the job. In there for a strike on Royce Clayton, who's gone 0 for 3.
And all the disciplines of the military, and much of it, same kind of stuff you apply as a pitcher.
Off the end of the bat, foul, and it's 0-2. And fitting in would be a strikeout to cap a one-hitter and a complete game shutout for Glavine. One and 2. Balls, 2 strikes on Clayton. Vinny Castilla would hit next if the inning is still alive. Bases empty, 2 out. Popped him up. Matsui's got it. Absolutely brilliant, Tom Glavine today. He goes the distance and throws a one-hit shutout at Colorado. 113 pitches, 71 strikes. In command from the very first corner strike Then he tossed to Denny Hawkins.
One of the great visions of baseball right there. You pitch a one-out shutout. What was Tommy Glavine's first reaction? And the 27th out came down. He turned around and looked for his catcher. Nice going, Jason. He looked for his catcher and gave him a pat on the chest, and he's getting high fives all around, and deservedly so here at Shea today, as the Mets reached 500, and hopefully we'll move on from there.
A sweep of the Colorado Rockies, a 500 record, but they were in the background today to Tom Glavine's outstanding effort. For Tom Glavine, his first career one-hitter, 6 two-hitters. In 7 of the 9 innings, he retired Colorado 1-2-3. Finally gave up a double with 2 down in the 8th inning. Let's go downstairs to Kip with Tom Glavine.
Well, Tom, a great performance today. Did you feel early on you had some special stuff?
Yeah, but not like that. I mean, I warmed up good. I felt good. You know, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to how I warm up other than how quick I get loose. And I got loose real good today, and you know, everything was kind of free and easy. So I just started to take it out there on the mound with me, and located well. Guys played good and gave me those 2 runs in the first inning to work with, which makes life a lot easier.
How long did it take you to realize before you knew you had everything working today?
You know what? It's just the kind of thing that as the game goes on, you kind of realize it a little bit more and more. But, you know, it's still a tight game, and you can't get caught up in that stuff. You know, it's like going out playing golf and birdie in the first 2 holes. You're saying, hey, I got a career round going. Next thing you know, you stink. So I just wanted to try and take it really an inning at a time, leadoff hitter each inning, and keep it simple. And if it kept going, great. But believe me, no hitters, perfect games, that's the last thing I expect to do. I got a better chance of going 4 for 4 than I do of throwing a no-hitter.
Speaking of the no-hitter, when do you actually start thinking about that, or when do you allow that to get into your head?
You know what? I mean, I knew, but I was trying to downplay it, really. But everybody in the dugout, nobody would talk to me. Everybody's staying away from me, you know. But, you know, you can't help but get caught up in it. The crowd was great. As each inning went on and each hitter went on, you know, they were getting louder and louder. And, you know, you feed off of that. And like I said, you get caught up in it, but I was just trying not to get caught up in the point where I started trying to do stuff that I wasn't capable of doing, because we still had to win a ball game.
Finally, I know it's early in the season, but you guys are at 500. Does that mean anything at this point to this team?
Absolutely. I think if, you know, you'd have told us going into Memorial Day weekend we got a chance to be 500, I think everybody would have been happy with that. We feel like we've got a good team this year. We feel like we're much better than last year. You know, we got to go out there and play, and we got to do what we did today. Get good pitching and good defense and timely hitting. And, you know, we keep guys on the field. We got a chance to have a good team. But obviously that's been the hard part. But hopefully from here on out, everybody will stay healthy and we can get on a roll.
Good, Tom. Appreciate your time. Hey, guys, back up to you. Dave?
Thank you, gentlemen. Tom Glavine, a magnificent outing today. His first career one-hitter, had the no-hitter with 2 out in the 8th, had a perfect game going into the 7th. In the end, a complete game shutout, 4-0. The Mets win it. The Mets came in talking about taking pressure off the bullpen. Boy, did Glavine do that. The GM turning point of the game. He got run support very early. In fact, the very first hitter for the Mets, Kaz Matsui, for the 2nd day in a row, leading off with a home run. He's done it 5 times this season. As it turns out, that's all Glavine needed. That's it from Shea Stadium with the final score. It's the Mets 4 and the Rockies nothing. The Mets win. They sweep. Join us on the WB11 next Friday at 7:30. The Mets play the Marlins. Stay tuned for Taxi next. For Tom Seaver, I'm Dave O'Brien. Good night, everybody.